Hello and welcome to the Tenfold AI podcast. I'm Matt. This is Heather. That's not true. Other way around. I'm Heather. This is Matt. This is a podcast where we talk about what we're hearing on the street about AI from clients, from prospects. We talk about the process of building an AI native system and selling it in today's market. We're pretty open, pretty candid. We may have a mental breakdown at any moment. But this is the Tenfold AI podcast. Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Hanging on by a thread.
It is such a daily mashup of like intense anxiety and exhilaration and optimism and frustration. Just a smoothie of that every day, mainlined, isn't it?
Yes. And a very healthy dose of seasonal allergies at the moment.
Allergies,
Yes.
psychosis. Yeah. This week's been fun. You have some fun stuff to talk about. Real quick, I spoke last night on a panel. It was Digital Women, Kansas City. There were 4 panelists, all who work in AI, all women. So that was really fun to be in a room of about 60, 65 women who care enough about AI to, spend a few hours on a Thursday night. And it's been a minute since I've been to like a sort of an open AI networking thing. In the first year, I went to several of them and I was like, this is mostly unhelpful. I'm not going to do this. And chose to spend time in marketing focused groups, business focused groups, because honestly, the topic is AI no matter what room you're in, it's going to come up. But it was really fun just to see how the conversation has progressed, how the questions are getting a little more nuanced. The focus is being taken away from the hot tool of the moment and into things like change management, data security, transparency, like really good adoption. We talked a lot about what skills should you be upskilling, which was really fun. I got to kind of wax theoretical, philosophical with the group of encouraging them to lean into what they can do that AI cannot do. Like be truly innovative, spend your gained hours. If you're implementing AI well and you have newfound hours, spend those really digging into innovation, strategy, creativity. Don't just try to live inside of AI tools all day long. That's not the point.
Amen. What was one thing that stood out to me is like, thank God we're not talking about the AI tool of the moment anymore. I'm gonna have to crawl out of my hole and attend one of these things again.
Yeah.
I got so sick of that. I hate AI.
It's going to be the title of this podcast. I hate it.
It is it's such a love-hate relationship. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it because do you kind of feel like, imagine you're like 16 years old, you're a metalhead, super, you're a skateboarder, you're, this anarchist little rebel child, and you like this band, and you've been following this band, this underground, just fringe band for like a year, and you were like the first fan they ever had, and now they're big. Now everybody loves them, and you're like, I hate this now. Everyone else ruined it for me.
Yeah, I'm looking for the next band. No, it's more like, okay, I think, all right, the closest like feeling that I have from my life and my career is like, so I had worked in like fitness and fitness adjacent, like healthcare. I was like really into a lot of the alternative healthcare things that have become in the mainstream. The saunas, the cold plunges, the like it's okay to eat lean protein type situation. Women can touch barbells and that not like the world will not implode. So like I had entered into that world, I mean, ages ago when all of these things were like very underground, very suspect. And it feels like that. It feels
Yeah.
just like that time, like, I mean, for so many years there was this thing, like women would be like, I cannot touch a weight. I will just get like, I would get
Yeah.
so bulky. I don't want to like look like a WNBA player. And I'm like, yeah, you have no idea how hard that is. Like, you have no
Mm,
idea how difficult that would be in order for
mm,
that to happen. And in fact, the downstream effects on osteoporosis far outweigh any sort of like, you're not going to like Hulk out on this thing.
mhm.
And and so and we would try to talk about it from so many different angles, like just physiologically, hormonally, like just the sheer number of calories that you would need to eat to pack on significant muscle mass. And it truly feels like that time, and so it's this weird place to sit in, where I know that in 5 years somebody will come up to me and talk about something that we've talked about on this podcast 100 times, and be presenting it to me as though they just had the idea. And when 5 years prior I was telling them, hey, think about AI a little bit differently. Think about it as
Mhm.
compute. Like, don't think about it as like your friend that you chat with. Like, think about it as a new form of compute. Like, think of it as an operating system. And so
Mhm.
this is like the weird place that I think we are sitting in right now. And it feels just eerily similar.
Well, I mean, I can attest. Like, I met you almost 2 years ago. In those early conversations, you said all kinds of stuff that I had never heard before about the future of the internet, about data, about vectorizing data, like just this whole future vision. And I am not a highly technical person. I'm not. I love digital marketing. I love digging into how it all works, but I've never been, the person who understands the internet the most by any stretch. But what you said in those early conversations, something in me just said, he's right. And it was a sixth sense of this makes logical sense. Like, I don't know how exactly, he's obviously dumbing this down so that I can understand what he's saying, but this just seems logical. It seems like that would be a better state. It seems like the trend is moving in this direction. And then sure enough, in the last 2 years, every few months will be this new revelation in the market, and it'll be all over LinkedIn and articles that I'm looking at, and it is straight from how you were talking 2 years ago. It's almost like biblical, like prophecy playing out in real time. So that gives me confidence in, you as a partner for sure, but yeah, not everyone not everyone can see around that corner. I think there's a lot of reasons for that, but I think it's very cool that you can. But probably frustrating when
Yeah. Well, and just to be clear, this is not because of this is like purely as a result of me being isolated from most anything I'm not obsessed with. And just,
Yep.
so this isn't like I don't have any kind of secret powers or anything. Like, this is just a thing that caught my obsession. And I generally am pretty far removed from anything in the cultural zeitgeist. This isn't Nostradamus or anything.
Well, but I think you have a special mix, Matt, because there's a lot of people who are highly technical, the super nerds in the AI space. And I think most of them, they have that deep technical skill and knowledge, but you've got also this really good gut instinct about business and how business owners make decisions, because you've been a business owner for 20 years. You've managed humans, you understand the pressures of business ownership. You understand where those pressures could be relieved and what the impact of that relief would mean in like a really visceral way that I think a lot of highly technical people don't have.
Mm.
And they need, the Wozniaks need the Steve Jobs to play out the economic impact of the business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I
That
think you
is,
do
yeah.
have those two things, and that's kind of rare in the same head, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that's well, this is a great segue to our first
Yeah, I didn't mean to
conversation,
like
actually.
fangirl over splitting.
Yeah, that makes me feel super uncomfortable. But thank you. This was one of my resolutions for 2026 was to be able to receive compliments and not feel like my insides are melting. So thank you.
It is painful. I get it. Oh, I won't let it happen again. I promise.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so cool AI news story here. Near and dear to my heart is how AI is driving growth engines for small businesses. So many small businesses are using and finding value in artificial intelligence, but this year will be a defining era for their use. This is one thing we've talked about from the very beginning is what is how is generative AI going to democratize the economy and give access to people who, you know, formerly would not be able to participate in various sectors. And this is absolutely, predictable byproduct of this type of compute technology. And I'm here for it. I think it is just absolutely phenomenal. We've actually talked several times in here how, I almost see this future where, like, really one of my biggest hopes in AI, especially looking at this article here, is that it implodes venture capital, like that it implodes all of these various walled gardens that have kept otherwise really solid, disciplined thinkers outside of various arenas. And to see that it's actually happening is just absolutely inspiring.
Yeah.
And this in particular, right? You were just talking about at this panel, you were saying, what should you do with the time you save from doing this? We talk often about the difference between, are you using AI to optimize or automate existing proven processes? Or are you using AI to create net new work? So, when we talk about the tool
Yeah.
of the moment, fucking 90% of those things are creating net new work. But,
Yeah.
just highlighting this, we all know that networking and going to events and meeting with people, like having a face-to-face actual interaction is absolute gold. I mean, your likelihood of generating revenue in those instances is far higher. And so
Mhm.
to see this entering the public conversation of hey, take that time savings and apply it to real proven human business activities is
Mhm.
like, yeah, makes me super optimistic.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know nearly as much about the VC world as you do, having not been a software founder before, but it seems like, and I'd never had to think about it, but yeah, the old way, it was like the 1%. I guess if I was to make a headline for this, it would be the 1% is by invite only. And the invitation looks like VC money. You want to be a founder, you have a concept, you throw your hat in the ring, you get some funding, you get more funding, and the whole time your future is in the hands of, you know, them, of the,
Yeah.
proverbial they. They decide who rises. In the AI era, that need not be the case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Like your customers can decide who rises, not VC.
Yeah. I mean, an MVP or a prototype no longer costs between $500,000 and $5 million to create. Just doesn't. I mean, $100 a month Claude Code subscription gets your MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a competition. I love it because I love competition. I love actual competition, right? A lot of people, I mean, there are certain markets that are more free than others. And if the barrier to entry to entering into technology is your ability to fundraise with VCs, your ability to fundraise with VCs is directly correlated to your geography and to your existing network. Like those two things, like that is limiting the free market competition by having those two things be like the most skilled operators are not able to participate in that system. And so inherently, it is going to be a less competitive system if it is not open to the most skilled operators. You were talking earlier, I appreciate the compliment again, but you're talking earlier how rarely does like technical understanding and like deep understanding of business pain rarely exist in the same person. Now think about in this traditional world, third pillar to that has to exist in the same person is your ability to fundraise with VCs, because that is a full-time job. If you go that route, that is the only thing that you're doing.
Yes.
So if you have to think, what skill are we optimizing for? It's your ability to navigate like those bullshit networking events that we went to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it is, I mean, these are not intellectual giants
Yeah.
barely hanging on. I mean, like,
Some characters in that world.
my God, that one dude that was like, I mean, he's just in charge of hundreds of millions of dollars of a venture fund. So what's your 5-year outlook? The guy's like, robots are going to be huge. I'm like, well, no shit, dude. Like, fucking unpack that a little bit. So I think that just in that system where you have this huge filter for competition, you're going to end up with like like subpar technology, subpar products.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we always pay attention to the 1-2% outliers, but by and large, 98% of it all is just like pure garbage. And I think it is because it is not a true free market inside that world. And so now seeing that AI is saying, all right, a lot more people can participate in this.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a shot across the bow.
Yeah. But I want to mention it's not just, this advantage, this investor versus entrepreneur advantage does not just live in the tech world, right? Like you could have a lawn mowing business, right? Or a window cleaning business. If you can run your operations, your back end, your back office with AI, including your marketing. And if you can be the most efficient, most profitable small lawn mowing business, you now have a competitive advantage against not only the small businesses, but even bigger businesses. You can actually out earn those larger businesses. You can scale faster because you're more profitable. Like those efficiency gains can be capitalized at outside of tech, and where otherwise you might need to go get a loan from a bank. Hey, I got to scale. I got to buy more equipment. I got to hire more people so that we can scale. Now you can actually become far more efficient first, more profitable, and then maybe get better terms on that loan because of your numbers, or miss the loan entirely and grow organically faster, more profitably without need for investors.
Exactly. That's why I love this. The networking is key to growth. I love that paragraph in this article because I mean, yeah, to your point, if you open up a lawn care business, at the end of the day, you as that business owner, you know, 10% of your time, and you're working like 80-hour weeks when you first start that thing, 10% of your time is going to be spent on thinking about lawns and new customers. I mean, the other 90% of your time is like, what is QuickBooks? How does this, oh my God, I got to file this form with the state. I got to do like, I mean, just the absolute insane pile of nonsense that needs to be addressed in any business. Those things become this key skill of business, is just being able to navigate that. Now, all of a sudden, if that is just like automated and you don't have to spend the time either learning it or going to get a loan so that you can outsource it, eliminating that. It's spend a lot more time on lawns and customers and figuring out what makes them happy, what their problems are. It's
Mm,
like it totally shifts the dynamic of
yeah.
entrepreneurship.
I know a local lawn care business, and as they were growing and scaling, they were paying a consultant, I think it was like $11,000 a month, because he was the guy for scaling lawn care businesses, like national expert. And they paid that to have a 1 hour conversation with him a month.
Oh,
And in the back end, he'd look at their numbers and all of this. And I'm like, man, I bet you could replace that guy with slick AI processes and information. Not saying there's not room for consultants who are that valuable, like, sure, but man, like applying AI well, taking the time to learn, what can these tools do? Where can they be applied in this business? The efficiency gains are massive. And I don't think that $11,000 a month would have to happen today.
yeah. I mean, honestly, if anybody's listening and you have a lawn care business, you can pay me $5,500 one time. And in about 20 minutes, I'll give you a list of addresses that will be your most profitable to. You give me a spreadsheet, give me your CRM, and I'll give you a list of all the most profitable doors to go knock on.
It's so fun. Just yesterday, I was talking to a friend who's consulting with a pool company and just real salt of the earth company, great business owner, entrepreneurial, fun, does 8 million a year, looking to scale beyond that. And I'm looking at, okay, well, what are the pool company tools just for grins and giggles? And sure enough, I'm seeing these like prospecting tools that identify houses that have pools and don't have pools within zip codes that are likely to purchase pools. And I'm looking and I'm like, I know exactly what this is because of working with you, right? Like this is, sure enough, it was a Russian software, probably built in a day, and it's
Mhm.
probably just Google Earth data, right? Google Earth data laid over a couple of parameters, like databases with zip codes matched to household income and some statistics, and then that output. And they're charging like a few $100s a month to use this tool. It's like, man, every pool company could have their own prospecting tool like this
Oh my
in a
God,
day.
yeah. Oh my God. And it would be even so much better because you could just it could recursively improve itself as you close jobs. You could, you could start to geographically orient towards those things. Like all of the insights and processing could just be
Yeah.
done,
You could overlay your past project data so that you're calling on houses very close to past projects for leverage. You can populate phone numbers in a SDR agent like we've got now with Claude Code. Yeah, that would be slick as hell. That'd be very fun.
Yeah, I do think that's an interesting thing. I do wonder because we see this a lot. There's these niche industries, and for the longest time, SaaS could sell into that industry simply by saying, "We get you. This is the software we built for your
Yeah.
industry." And that always, to me, that always felt like, gosh, this is just subpar tooling that they had an in. When you built this CRM, you had an in the pool industry. And so instead, so your value proposition is just like, we know this industry. And it's like,
Yeah. I,
I don't think that survives.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And there's a line because we're also told in business niching down is good,
Mhm.
right? Because you've got to have an ICP that you identify. That's been a real struggle for us at ProMode because it truly is horizontal infrastructure. Any industry can use it. ProMode doesn't care what your data is. It doesn't have to care or know, about your industry specifically. Your data will inform its actions. That's really hard to market and sell when you've got such a broad band of ICP. But let's take a pool CRM, for instance. CRM only for pools. The reason that's a red flag is because CRMs are not unique to the pool industry, right? There is
Mhm.
nothing in a feature set that a pool company would need that a roofing company would not, or a concrete company, or a lawn care company. You need a pipeline tracking system. You need forecasting. Those are numbers. Numbers in pools are not different from numbers in any other business. Like, where the niche tool does work is if your solution is unique to that industry. There's some cool roofing tools that will quote a roof. They'll measure the roof and give a quote based on the measurement of a roof. So it makes estimating really fast. It really helps the sales cycle shorten because your prospect can see that estimate before you ever show up.
Yeah.
So something like that, which also could probably be built in-house today
That's
with
you.
AI
Oh,
tooling.
yeah. That's so smart, Heather. I love that. Like, yeah. Okay. I don't think that the niche software goes away, but it's going to have to get beefed up in the AI era. So if you are like, let's say, like your CRM, I think it's your cover charge to this nightclub. If you have a CRM, you just are going to have to add quotes, proposals, all of that on top of there. That's just, I mean, it's just like that is just going to be so easy to build. So you're going to have that in there. Now, if you wanted to niche down into an industry, I think like the differentiator now becomes how much can you feed into that system. So let's take roofing as an example, right? So if you had like a roofing specific CRM that did proposals and quotes, looked at the Google Maps, took pictures of things, quoted it, you have to have some sort of supply side labor data. You have to have that coming in. So you need to have like real time data streaming in. So and that could be easily handled. That's one of those things, like this is one of the things that AI makes possible is you could stream in a feed of your suppliers' pricing and different product lines and things like that, so that all
Yeah.
of that is streaming in. And then you as the business owner, you can say, okay, for this particular job, I just actually want to get one job in this neighborhood. I'm not necessarily trying to maximize my profit margin. I'm trying to close this deal so that now I have a presence in this neighborhood. Okay, that's my setting for this quote. And then let's say for other neighborhoods where you have good market penetration, you want to say, I only want to present my highest margin shingles to
Mm,
inside of these quotes, and you need to have that data streaming in
yeah,
there. I think
that's
connecting
powerful.
like the supply side with the buyer side will be the only way that niche software can survive in this era.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then you could even add to those quotes, because they always say that, like, the pricing is good for 30 days, 60 days, because those costs vary. And you could even give like a historical, like in the last 6 months, these prices have increased this percent, decreased this percent, or last 60 days, whatever. With accurate data, maybe they do that today. But that would also help to put some urgency on the close of that deal.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I do think we'll see the niche, the sort of fugazi niche go away. If it's niche by name only and not function, I think the jig will be up on that if for no other reason than the buying market is just getting smarter and smarter as, no offense, as boomers are aging out and their buying style is very different. As millennials are becoming decision makers, they're a bit more hip to it just because we've grown up with tech. Like, we've seen cycles. We've done more research into tech because we've had to. So I don't think those hooks will work anymore unless you're actually leveraging industry specific expertise that client can't get from the generic alternative.
And as we said before, I think there's an opportunity here. I think we're still in this weird hype phase where experts and consultants with like 40 years experience in an industry are seeing that AI enables them to build technology products easier. You know, there's just too much. They're not going to be able to catch up to that. But I think where there is opportunity is partnering with skilled technologists in the AI space and taking that expertise that they've gained as consultants and sitting down with somebody who knows what's up. And it's still tough to like suss out who actually knows what's up today. But I think that it is those experts' ability, those boomers aging out, like legit, like you guys got to like stop trying to build technology. It's crazy. You have like the thing that is valuable about you is like the experience that you have.
Yeah.
And I think somebody, I mean, again, in a niche specific industry, let's take pools, for example. I mean, that pool consultant needs to sit down with somebody and just have somebody who understands large language models and machine learning, all of these things. And you just need to have that engineer ask you a bunch of questions. Like,
Yeah.
what is in your brain? And we're just going to take what is in your brain and put it into these agents' brains.
Yeah, if I was a pool company today, I would build an app that is a pool care app that your customers get, that tells them on this day, like it's got all the pool data, it knows when the pool was put in, it knows what the season is, it knows what the humidity is, all the variables, and it would tell that pool owner exactly what needs to happen. And I would link that to a subscription service program that queues up a service tech to come out at different intervals and just immerse them in your brand long term. That would be sick.
100.
I want to really get into well, you can do whatever you want. I would love to talk about the Google Core update
Yeah,
because I
that's
think
that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. Okay, so yeah, we got the February 2026 Google Search Core update. So let's take a look at this. Big news in our space, marketing, SEO. Okay, so we had heard, what did it say here? There's some crazy number of daily active AI mode. Here we go. Google AI mode crossed 75 million daily active users. Good golly, Miss Molly. We are doing it. Tell me your thoughts here.
it's a lot of daily users.
So 75 million daily active users. Yeah. There's some really cool things in here. So in this core update, showing users more locally relevant content based on their country, reducing sensational content and clickbait headlines, highlighting more in-depth, original, and timely content from sites with demonstrated topical expertise. This one's cool. Evaluating expertise on a topic-by-topic basis, not at the whole site level.
That's a
Who is
big
it?
difference.
Yes. Who is impacted? Sites with clickbait-style headlines saw a discovered traffic drop 30 to 60%. Google, thank you. Thank you very much. Let's make the internet great again. So, okay, what I'll do is I'll talk about what's going on from a technology standpoint, and then I want you to unpack what this means to marketing. In short, what's going on is that entire articles are being read. Like, just simply put, like whole articles can be scanned and read. We're not just looking at headlines, titles, and meta descriptions, which can be gamed and hacked. Like entire like corpora of texts are being read and synthesized, not only into a retrieval augmented generation database at the time of publishing, but also in runtime, a mini RAG database is being created to select the most relevant results when Google serves this up. So like deep into the content is actually being read by the engines that are indexing and serving it. So a lot of the hacks and workarounds and like fear mongering, frankly, around SEO is becoming just exponentially obsolete. as
Huh?
time goes on.
Can you Command F this page and see if keywords are mentioned at all?
Mhm. Let's
Manually
see.
search your core keywords and note AI overview, frequency, and presence.
Let's see here. Oh, interesting. Okay. This is interesting. AI overviews reduce position one click-through rate by 58%. Over 30% of US keywords now trigger an AI overview. 30% of keywords.
Okay.
That's crazy. I think the last time we looked at this may have been like 6 months ago, and this 30% was in single digits. That's
Interesting.
crazy. That is crazy. 30% of keywords now trigger an AI overview. That's bonkers.
Interesting. Anything else about
So this looks like your March 2026 checklist. Check Google Console for ranking changes, review, discover traffic separately from search traffic, manually search your core keywords, and note AI overview frequency and presence.
and do what with that note, I wonder?
Yeah.
Note it. Watch the train as it crashes.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point. I mean, like because we don't know, yeah, we don't really know the sequence of events that led to like something being served up. Like, you know what I mean? We don't really have that guidance yet. Because it is a combination. Like, if you've ever gone, like, dive deeper in AI overviews, there's a bunch of like subsequent queries, but those are stacking on top of each other. Like, there's inference occurring with each request. So this it's not this binary search where somebody put
Right.
in a term and a result comes out. It is like there's inference of intent being mapped throughout that entire interaction when you dive deeper in AI mode, which is really fascinating. How, like, back engineering that, I would venture to say, becomes impossible. Like, that inference
Right.
probably becomes so great that there would be no way of back engineering it to try to hack it other than what are you an expert in? What do you have an
Exactly.
interesting take on? There's nothing more than that.
Well, and we've said it before, and I got a few thoughts on this. The first is SEO, how it has been done, technical SEO for the last 20 years. And business owners need to understand this. If you're writing an SEO check today, you got to understand this. All of those SEO practices are a proxy for authority. That's all it is. You're hacking the system. You're telling Google that people should know that you're an expert in this thing. And because technology was not able to discern your expertise just, at its face, you had to go through a whole bunch of steps. You had to jump through a bunch of hoops. Things like your site speed, your meta descriptions, your H1, H2 titles had to be just so, your keyword density, number of pages on your site, how frequently you publish on your website. Those are all things that are measurable in a dashboard, right? Like you can track those, you can put a quantitative number to all of those things. And so a computer could recognize like green light, red light, red light, red light, green light, green light. Most green lights gets the search, right? And so for 20 years, agencies have been selling SEO services to jump through those hoops, do those things, feed the robots in exactly the way that they want to be fed. That no longer works. The whole thing is it's like more squishy. It's more ambiguous. There's, to your point, so many factors in it, inference, and that it will be impossible to back engineer that. I take that as very soon it'll be wholly bad business practice to sell SEO services.
You just saw not will be, it is. Like, I mean, you saw how bad that those hacks, I mean, really, like trying to game it had a net negative effect on really prominent publishers. It like happened last week.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hesitant to call a full-on kibosh because I don't know the total daily users of Google, and I'm not deeply in the SEO analytics of companies who are today spending money on SEO. So if you're today spending money on SEO services and you're seeing performance that you feel is valuable, keep doing it until you no longer see it's valuable. Like, I have prospects and clients ask me all the time, should I keep spending money on SEO? And I'm like, are you making money from it? You know, how long have you been doing it? 10 years. Do you see any ROI from it? No. If I were you, I wouldn't do it. So I'm not trying to sway anyone by data. Like, use your own data.
Yeah.
You know, like, we can show you articles all day long. Like, the way SEO is done is radically changing. Like, the reward system has completely changed.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just encourage businesses. I'm like, be pragmatic. Spend money on what's working. Don't spend money on what's not working.
Totally. And I don't think that we're going to get this message to the business owner necessarily, but do you know where we can get it is to marketers. And gosh, I think this core update, I didn't read it till this morning, to be honest with you, but just because like the core updates are showing a clear trend. I mean, Google is like definitely signaling that niche expertise, real expertise, like we're reading every letter of your content. And so we want to know that there's actual niche expertise here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been trending that direction. But at any rate, from the marketer's perspective, we are seeing the hemorrhaging of traditional SEO tactics. It's already begun. And so you should have started on this yesterday, but now you can maybe start tomorrow. But like the really cool thing about this is that the like quote unquote SEO tactic of the future probably looks something like what our boy John is doing with his podcast stuff.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Last week's episode. I mean, how cool is just how cool is this? As an agency, if your SEO tactic is to interview leadership in a company with whom you have a marketing engagement with, and you're interviewing them like the true experts, and then you're taking that transcript and that becomes the seed for your SEO tactic. Whether that is performant today or not, I promise you that client will love that experience. You'll have fun doing it. You'll have like all of the content that you need for everything, but you will be building the library and the data set for the future of discoverability. There's this is not a question anymore. Like the future of discoverability is true expertise that is not up for debate anymore. And what is like the lowest bandwidth, lowest latency way to get that? It is through transcripts. It is through a conversation like you and I are having right now, and then that being translated to, and whether that shows up on a dashboard or not, I promise you, your clients will love that experience. They're going to feel like rock stars. You're sitting there asking them questions about the shit that they're obsessed about.
Yeah.
They would do that all day.
Yeah, and you can create 50 pieces of content from one conversation. Like all channels. We're going to make an email newsletter about this. Maybe we'll link the episode, maybe not. Maybe it's text only. We're going to make, 20 social posts about this, some featuring clips of the video, some just text and images. And we're going to make 5 web pages, an FAQ page, um, you know, executive's corner page, like like sky's the limit. And all you needed was the time you would have otherwise spent in a status call with your client, showing them an SEO dashboard and trying to defend why you're still taking $2,500 a month from them for a tactic that's no longer working. Now you can use that time to grow your relationship with the client, capture that transcript and video, and then create tons of content with it.
And now the real question is, do you think somebody who's been paying their bills off these tactics for the last couple decades is going to have the balls to abandon it, to see the writing on the wall and take a different approach? Or do you think that the market's going to have to cull these people out and usher in the next generation of like the Johns who see what's going on?
I think the SEO techs that I know who work inside of agencies are often some of the smartest people who work at the agency. They are often, and I don't want to paint a broad brush, but we got to have something to talk about, so I'll use some generalizations. They are typically not the most salesy, client-facing, razzle-dazzle marketing types. Like, they are the mathematicians, the nerds of the agency, along with the ad managers. But those SEO techs are even more. They're in some of the deepest waters of digital marketing, SEO techs. So I think that their skills translate really well for things like building agents, right? Like building AI agents, setting up really slick prospecting things like we've got with Claude Code, making some of those industry-specific tools like we talked about, like getting real experimental with their tech skills. I think a lot of them could be really good at that.
Yeah. I 100% agree. And hopefully, and the hope is that they're not building this technology to automate the old tactics. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
So there was another interesting thing so kind of along the same lines, talking about recommender systems. So recommender system is a machine learning algorithm that serves up content to you. Now, previously, for the last 10 years, these recommender systems were super deterministic. So this is your keyword schema. These are your H1s, all of that type of stuff. Now, with the advent of large language models, people are transitioning. So like, just to unpack this just a little bit. So previously, the Google recommender system that would serve up results was a really fixed schema that was read over by a very deterministic AI algorithm, so machine learning. Now, when we talk about transformer-based recommender systems, that is not in the case of Google, that's like getting too deep, but transformer-based recommender systems are a recommender system that reads everything. It's like it's reading the actual text. So the actual text of an FAQ page on the website, not just the meta description. Or in the case of social media algorithms, reading the entire text of a post instead of these other signals like engagement signals. You know what I mean? So this, again, back to the idea of democratizing things. Like somebody without a following on social media now is having the entire text of their post read and compared against everybody else without other features in there. You know what I mean? So we all know that you can buy followers, you can buy bot followers, you can now create your own followers that are bots. And the social media companies, and we're going to look at LinkedIn here, they're hip to that. They're like, this degrades the experience. If now all
Yeah.
of a sudden Matt and Heather can use an agent to create a ton of bot accounts, have all of those bot accounts follow and engage with their content, that's going to be amplifying, or that's like potentially amplifying things that are not, that are
Yeah, it's
like,
artificial trust,
mhm.
which is not trust at all.
And so LinkedIn, similar to what we were looking at with the Google update, LinkedIn has also updated its ranking system with a transformer-based recommender system. And so the new system improves content relevance by analyzing semantic meaning and user behavior patterns while enabling faster processing and broader content discovery beyond immediate networks.
Nice.
So, content visibility on LinkedIn will increasingly depend on AI driven relevance signals, requiring more sophisticated content strategies aligned with user intent and engagement patterns. So, again, back to the same idea that we were talking about with an SEO strategy. This is, what is the lowest latency process for getting an expert's ideas and opinions onto a LinkedIn feed? How quickly can you get that? How lossless can you make that idea? Because now all of a sudden, like, size of your network doesn't matter. Like, engagement with the post obviously still matters, because that's a signal that somebody is finding this relevant. But to get this in front of somebody who may find it relevant, it is just the meaning of the content that you're publishing. Like, every word, what is the meaning? What is the idea? And that starts to be, and now we start to get into things like, does this voice have a contrarian opinion for a popular topic? That's going to be showing up in the feed now. Because if there's a topic that is viral on the platform, now, because we're scanning the semantic meaning of everything, more nuanced opinions enter into the mix. This is the beginning of the end of the social echo chamber.
Mhm. That is so cool, and I just think of how we've built Pro Mode. When you're creating content for anything, you select what audience is this content for, what industry is this for, and you've got all your problems statements in there and your solution, your products and services. And so you're creating content for your avatars. Like, I want commercial, I want residential, I want larger business owners, smaller business owners can curate that content within Pro Mode and launch it. And since we launched the platform, all of these updates that we're seeing in social and Google are showing that, like, this is the way to do it. Like, your audiences will see your content at a much higher, percentage because of the way the content is created. It's for that audience. And in the mid-market, they don't create content like that. It's one message, one size fits all, same base. We had a networking event. Here it is. Did a trade show. Here it is. Picture of the team. And then all your vendors like it.
Yes.
And that's it.
Mm-hmm. You bring up another interesting point. We had talked about the niche software, the software by industry. Another thing that we've seen that I think is like crazy. This is crazy, actually. Marketing agencies have also historically niched into industries. Like, we are a marketing agency for pools, whatever. That now becomes like a disadvantage almost. Because if you as a marketing agency are saying, we know this industry so well, so we niche down into it, you are contributing to the noise there. Because I'm guessing you're saying that because you have some way that you have learned to frame this industry. So you're saying, okay, we have 100 clients that all build pools, and we are positioning them all similarly because we have niched down and we are saying that this is the best practice. And now what we're seeing is that the best practice becomes, How do you get the expertise, the opinions, the insights that are in any business? And how do you get that throughput to what you're publishing for them as a marketing agency? So the marketing agency of this, like, as we're seeing how these algorithms are all trending, the marketing agency that doesn't necessarily niche by industry, but instead niches by operational capacity, meaning we like what makes our agency different is that we're industry agnostic. We just want to know what little corner of this industry makes you special. And we now have the ability to get those little things about your business that make you special. We have systems and processes and tooling to get that out into the world.
Uh,
That becomes this, like, in this new recommender system, in like transformer based recommender systems, that becomes the marketing agency differentiator, and almost being like, we are the expert in, like, whatever table manufacturers, that you might kind of be at a disadvantage if you have this assumption that table manufacturing is positioned in a certain way. And if your value proposition as a marketer is that I know how to position tables, ugh, like you're going to be like, that approach or that mentality is going to be deranked in transformer recommender systems.
yeah, I see what you're saying. I think that the industry niche agency is sort of a double-edged sword, and you have to be careful. And this has always been the case. You have to be careful with becoming just like an assembly line shop where all of your clients look the same. There are several agencies in the auto space, like auto dealership space, that do that. That's why every car commercial looks the same. Like a local lot, local dealership, they all use the same agency. And the agency's using the same templates for all of the clients and often the same voice talent, which is, it's like, this is the same ad with a different name on it. It came from the same agency, which is a highly profitable agency because everything they're doing is scalable across their clients. That's not good. But you can have, like, there's a few construction agencies that I know, and that's a little more broad, because they're not just working with concrete companies. They've got, usually they don't have any two clients that compete or that really are the same business at all. They're just all in the construction space. I think that's a really good model because they have enough variety that they can cross apply things that they learn from one to another. And then that new thing becomes a competitive advantage to that concrete company because no other concrete companies are doing that because it actually came from the roofing world,
Hmm.
like you can tap into some of those things. But yeah, the echo chamber day is over, which I'm excited for. I think we'll see a lot of de-ranking of the ChatGPT LinkedIn posts. If you're creating LinkedIn posts act as if you are a social media manager for a CFO consulting firm. Create a week's worth of LinkedIn post. Brilliant. Couldn't have said it better myself. Copy, paste, roll. Well, there's 1,000 other CFOs entering that exact same prompt, getting really similar outputs. You don't sound unique at all.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, we talk about it all the time. I mean, if you want quality content, first off, like, nowhere in any of these things that we've looked at today is there any like de-ranking we've not seen a single de-ranking factor for using an LLM to create the content, right? Like,
Yeah.
that is not a factor. And so then it becomes, so if that's not a factor, and so if we know that, like, that doesn't matter, then you want, like, the tactic of having a social media calendar is like, that's what you were doing right there. Act as a social media manager, right? That's not it. And so we say all the time, if you want the quality output from an LLM, it cannot know what it's doing. If you want something original, an LLM cannot know that it's writing. You don't want it to think that it's a social media manager, because then all of a sudden what you're doing is that LLM has tuned its attention to the part of its training data that we just saw is being deranked. So if you like the minute you tell an LLM you are an SEO expert, that LLM is attuning its training data to a deprecated Google Core update.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be juicing up each one is going to be, if you're telling it that it is a LinkedIn social media manager, now it's attuning its training data to LinkedIn behavior that we're seeing as being deranked. And
Yeah.
so no LLM can know what it's writing. The whole, whatever system you build for this thing has to be, there's a seed of an idea, and then that seed of an idea is then passed through agents and like presented, but nowhere in that entire flow can any LLM know what it's writing for, because you don't want it to attune its probability space to like all of these old algorithms, frankly.
Interesting. I talked to an agency owner the other day who said that she said AI content is deranked in Google because Google knows if a piece of content is AI generated. And I said, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. And she's like, oh, yes, it does. And then she shared, this is what she's telling her clients and prospects for the last 3 years. That Google knows, and she believes it. And I'm like, I'm telling you, Google does not know if it is AI content. Google knows if it's valuable content, does not know if it's AI content. And she's like, well, we have detector tools that are 100% accurate. And I said,
Google.
no, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah. No.
I'm sorry. I've used every one that I could possibly find, not even close to accurate.
Yeah. I feed pro modes. I feed pro mode output through LLM detectors constantly. And it's like and it's all 100% AI generated. And it's like 60%, 70% comes back as human. These are all probability, like,
Right. Yeah, I will type a paragraph free form, upload it to a detector, 99% AI. It's absolutely not. Like they're not accurate, but that's a lack of understanding of the deeper processes that are happening. Semantic analysis, neural language or natural language processing. Like if you don't understand those, and I know why she's saying that. She does not want her clients to use ChatGPT to create their own content and stop paying her money.
yeah. And that's actually like it. And it shouldn't be like, okay, let's even throw the AI detector off to the side, because like it's impossible to be accurate. You're using just doesn't mathematically, it just does not work. But Google themselves, in every single core update for the last 2 years, has said directly, we do not derank AI generated content. We don't care. So let's even say that Google can tell that it is you know what I mean? If there's any company that would have a good enough algorithm to be able to detect that, they explicitly have stated in every single core update since the general public had access to LLMs that they do not derank LLM generated content. They said it themselves. It's in every single core update. That's the primary source material to know that does not matter.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but it's part of the misinformation of the space. It's agencies trying to hold their ground. It's AI vendors trying to sell shit. It's tech oligarchs trying to get more money. There's a lot of misinformation in the space, which
and
doesn't
the
help anybody.
real look in the mirror is like, if you don't want your clients using ChatGPT to create the blog posts that you're creating for them, like if a client could do that, that should be the red flag. Like you
Right.
shouldn't have to spread this fear mongering. You should say, ugh, gosh, if somebody with zero expertise can do the thing that we're doing, we need to rethink how we're doing the thing that we're doing. No matter what it is, that should be cause for concern. You know?
Right. But it's like they don't want the client to judge that subjectively, because content is subjective. Like they don't want the client to even feel confident in their own judgment that this piece of content I created with ChatGPT is better than the content my agency has just delivered me that cost $600 for this blog. They don't want to give the client that ability. And so they're saying there's something under the hood that you don't understand. It's the same SEO bullshit that's always been. Like you could never possibly understand how we arrived at this perfect blog. And it's way better. Like Google will prefer it for every technical reason that you would never understand. And I'm just trying to tell agency clients, like, be pragmatic. If you are not seeing results, abandon it today.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Let's burn it all down.
Yeah. Yeah. No, what a time to be alive. You want to
Yep.
wrap, or
Let's
did
do
you
it.
have any remaining thoughts? Cool. This has been the Tenfold AI podcast with Matt and Heather. You can use your imagination, figure out who's who. This episode sponsored by Mode AI. Super cool platform, creates marketing content, publishes it. You can create a month of content in a day, few hours. Yeah, we'd love to show you and help you.
And it's better content. Like the output is better than anything you've ever seen coming out. Like,
Yeah,
by
it really is. And you don't have to take our word for it. We can show you.
we
Okay?
promise you, your clients will not be able to recreate it on ChatGPT.
Absolutely not. Cool.
Bye.
LLM architecture for professional communicators.